Please welcome Bob Gaylord to the stage.
Yes, that was unexpected. Your instincts were right on the mark. But nonetheless, we can adapt and we can innovate and we can move on, because what we're going to do now is sort of an impromptu thing anyway. And it goes back to what Tim was talking about when he talked about people and how important they are in that process. And they're the ones who truly are the leaders of change, the engine of change, the dynamics of change. And when I was talking yesterday about that arch, that magnificent arch, and I talked about the foundation, manufacturer, distributor, I'm not going to go into the whole thing again, but I will reiterate one piece of that image that I tried to craft yesterday morning, and that was that star that was up in that. So if I could ask Mindy to come forward, please. And as she's coming forward, let me tell you what we're going to do. And we're going to do it right down here in front. We're going to give her an award because she's sort of leading the standards committee. I talked yesterday about the individual who's been on the standards committee since 1988. 1988. Yeah, I remember that phone that Tim was talking about. That phone did. But back in 1988, when she started on the standards committee, little did she know that what she did for EDI, just EDI transactions themselves, and what she's doing now even today for X12, and working to improve the X12 and making sure that there are codes in there that prohibits it as best you can, counterfeit documents or counterfeit codes such as that. Was I not projecting enough? Or can I now just calm back down? So, and what she was doing for X12 and what she's done for EDI over the years, she's held many, many positions on the Standards Committee in the time that she's been working there. And even in her role in normal leadership positions, as you look within a group and you look particularly at Mindy, and as she sort of sits there and people are talking back and forth, arguing back and forth, getting very vocal, raising the decibel level a little bit, and then all the time that I've sat in on those meetings, you'd hear her very quietly just sort of say something, and everybody shuts up and listens. And she doesn't, I don't think I've ever heard her raise her voice, ever. And she does it quietly, and whether she's in a leadership capacity within that particular meeting or subcommittee meeting or general meeting or not, she commands a leadership presence, and she has a leadership role because she influences. And for how you've influenced the channel and what you've done for the channel and the contributions you've made to the channel, I'd like to give you a little presentation here. So this says, an appreciation for your dedication and service to the electrical channel and the IDEA Industry Standards Committee, 1988 to 2011. She's not leaving the organization or anything else. Unfortunately for us, Rockwell, as you can well imagine, has recognized her potential and sort of filling a glass of water, but they needed more room in that glass. So they sort of took her out of the Standards Committee arena so they could put more water in the glass for helping them more directly. So Mindy, we thank you very, very much.
Well, I guess you'd all have to hear my voice if you really wanted to understand how it can be so quiet and that I could command a presence. I can't express the gratitude that I have for having the opportunity to meet each and every one of you. It has been a long and I can't say, but I will cherish every face and every voice. And you all know how to find me. And as Bob said, the bucket did get a little full. And unfortunately, I'm a little limited, so I can't quite run. So my feet get wet. So as that bucket starts to shuffle and everything, I need to have the opportunity to continue to fill it with new opportunities. And I am not far away. Will still be presented here. But your faces and all of your contributions over the years have been fantastic. I truly appreciate all of your efforts because it's not just me. It's everyone working together to come to that conclusion in the end.
Please welcome Mike Wentz back to the stage as our panel moderator.
Good morning again. I'd like to introduce our panelists for this morning's presentation of the Richard Buzun Award panel. Our first distributor from 2007 was Viking Electric Supply. Kyle Johnson will be representing their company today. Kyle is a 27-year veteran of the electrical industry and has held managerial positions in operations, sales, and marketing over the course of his career. Currently, he is in the corporate marketing manager role for Viking Electric Supply, headquartered in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Viking Electric is an operating company of Sonepar USA, the largest electrical distribution entity in North America. Welcome, Kyle. Our second panelist is Mark Richards, eCommerce Director of Leviton, and he is here representing our 2008 manufacturer winner. Mark has played a vital role in expanding the department from a single EDI service to a full suite of services that include VMI, a B2B online portal, data sync, customer compliance, and paperless services. The goal of his department is to continually make it easier to send and receive data by eliminating costly transactions through automation. Let's welcome Mark. Our manufacturer winner from last year was ERICO, and we have George Droder, the Vice President of Customer Service, here with us today. George has over 20 years of experience in business management and technology. He is currently responsible for global customer service operations, technical support, commercial support, and customer relationship management. He actively participates in IDEA as a previous chair and current research analyst for international B2B e-commerce. Let's welcome George. And we'd like to welcome Ron Schlader of Crescent Electric Supply back to the stage as a representative of our 2010 distributor winner. Welcome back, Ron. A little course correction. Apparently I was supposed to sit yesterday. So today I will sit. Kyle, Viking was our first distributor winner back in 2007. You were integrating IDW information to improve your pricing and rebate processes. Tell us how these two best practices paid off for Viking, and where have you gone from there?
Well, really, it was a matter of efficiency. It's allowed us to have data that we can use to automatically upload pricing to our system from the cost side as well as our resale pricing. It's given us the ability to group product that aligns with the manufacturer so that everything is more automated, more efficient, more streamlined than it used to be, and it's really speeded up the process from that standpoint. As well as from the rebate standpoint, we've actually developed a new process since then that focuses around that data and allows us to, again, streamline the process, be more efficient, be more effective.
Great. Looking back and considering your results, is there anything you would do different or recommend to others?
I don't think there's anything we would really do differently other than I think we regret not maybe pursuing manufacturers harder on getting to be part of IDEA and the IDW, as well as encouraging our distribution brethren to pursue that same goal. There's a lot of manufacturers we deal with that we still have to have alternative processes, et cetera, to deal with their data because it's not to the quality we need or they're just not participating. And I think we really wish we'd made a stronger push from that standpoint.
I think we've seen it definitely makes a difference when distributors really go to bat with manufacturers. Let's move to Ron. Ron, Crescent was tracking supplier metrics long before the industry implemented partner scorecards. You've been a tireless advocate for e-commerce. You're determined to make it easy for your partners to do business with Crescent Electric. How has being proactive helped you improve your own internal processes?
We started measuring our vendors probably back in the late 80s or so, and we put together a transactional analysis and a profitability analysis, and we take into account the fill rates on shipments coming in, the number of shipments we receive, especially on stock orders, and one of the metrics is the error rates on the invoices that we had seen over the years, and we break those deductions, so to speak, down to some subcategories. And one of them that continued to pop up was we deduct because of pricing. So our system was out of sync with theirs. So years ago, we became a big believer that we need to get ourselves in sync with each other, data in sync with each other, in order to really use EDI as a tool, an efficiency tool. And so I believe in there's that master record level is the first level of data synchronization, and that's where the IDW comes in. And then there's the into stock pricing, and then there's SPA pricing. And you get those three levels in sync with your vendor. Deductions, errors, paper handling goes away, disappears. We are a big proponent on pushing our vendors to do the 845. We've been, because of those measurements, we kind of said, hey, what's the tool to help us drive these numbers better? And that 845 for into stocks and SPAs on top of the IDW, those three components help drive that away. Just an example, and some of you heard me before, is we put a lot of work in early on, even before IDEA days, is working with Squirt E on putting those, the components in place, and then also the 844 and the 849 for the SPAs. But on our stock side of things, we reduced their errors in pricing or perceived errors in pricing down to less than 0.5%. Just goofy stuff that sometimes comes along, but it's we send them 8,000 to 10,000 line items of stock orders every month, and we get feedback back on every line that is out of sync, is kicks, and somebody in customer service at the manufacturer has to fix before that order can be released. And it's down in the 8 to 10 range. You take 8 to 10 divided by 10 to 12,000 line items, that's a 15/100, so 1% error rate. We challenge our vendors to go back to your customer service. We send in orders EDI, but how many still have to be fixed? Well, it's the data that's got to be synced. So we've used that measurement. That kind of showed us, and we started measuring that. It showed us what to look at, and we came up with solutions to drop those errors. So
that's great. How would you say Ron, the recent recession has been a challenge for both manufacturers and distributors, and how do you feel e-commerce efficiencies have helped your ability to cope with that and work through it during this last business cycle?
Well, we were pretty proactive, pushing the EDI years ago. So, does a downturn in the economy hurt us? Yeah, but I don't think it hurts us near as much as it would if we were more manual. We've got, just take our SPAs. I talked to some distributors, and they got a body per branch that process those things every month, and we've got about 15,000 agreements in our system. We've got over 100 different vendors. We rebate, we claim about 50 million a year, and we do it with 1.25 people. That's the overseeing the loading, the maintaining, the claiming, and the resolution. Branches are hands off. We've got a couple of corporate people. One works part-time on the SPAs. That's all we have. And that's been going on for 15 years. So, but we can't do it without, the 845s and the IDW, and that's what makes it all work. So I think we come through pretty well. Profits are, they're going to go down, and sales are going to go down, and we're going to be, we have to lessen our people some places in the warehousing and stuff like that. But as far as EDI side, I think we've built the efficiencies, and we continue to improve on it. So I don't think the economy hurts us as bad as others.
So the technology has actually allowed you to operate in a leaner fashion and be more prepared for downturns.
And we've been very proactive over the years.
George, a good bit of your business is international. You've been active on the Standards Committee, helping to develop EDIFACT standards to complement EDI Pro standards. Tell us how using those standards has helped you develop your international business.
Well, the Standards Committee activity has, I guess, first of all, advice to those that are new to the industry, getting involved in the standards activity is a great way to, we talked about this in different meetings yesterday, to network with others in the industry, to learn about e-commerce and international standards if you do business internationally, excuse me, and to further your knowledge in how to make your supply chain as well as your partner chain more efficient. The EDIFACT standards, if you're a manufacturer, more and more manufacturers have gone global or are in the process of going global. And the development of these standards help to establish a baseline for this industry that we can then take. If you're a manufacturer that's looking to go global or is in the process of going global, you haven't done a lot of work or a lot of business in Europe, the EDIFACT standard is essential. And then once you get, as with any standard, once you begin to utilize that standard and use that standard with different partners, you'll see that there's variances of that standard. And I think that's a key learning point in using international standards. It's not as well organized as it is in the United States, where we have quite an asset with the IDW and with all of the great partners in the United States. In Europe, it's the Wild East or the Wild West, where you have many different standards. There's variance of even the EDIFACT standard varies between different industries and between different trading partners. So by establishing the standard, we, I think, have a better understanding of how to work as an industry in Europe, and I think that's important for IDW. It's important for our business because it gives us a foundation to build upon and to set the stage for error reduction, streamlining, different transaction efficiencies in Europe. And by using the standards that we've developed, we're seeing that European manufacturers and distributors that have been making a bigger presence in the United States are beginning to use that standard here in North America. So we're beginning to see some of that full circle use and activity of the EDIFACT standard being used by distributors here that have made a presence in the United States.
Sounds like a really worthwhile project then that's continuing to pay dividends for you. What's been the best ROI project in e-commerce efficiency that you've implemented either here domestically or internationally?
I think from a ROI perspective, a lot of people say, well, e-commerce, e-business, it's just the cost of doing business. But in reality, there's massive payback in the establishment of self-services. I think our biggest payback has been a lot of the activity online with respect to web order entry and web fulfillment with our trading partners. When we launched and sort of repurposed a lot of the web services for our partners, it made a huge difference, especially in North America, in the use of order management with our agents, as well as with some of our smaller distributor partners. But interestingly, we also had a lot of internal payback, because being a global corporation and over the years acquiring other companies and other systems, some of our more remote sites where the systems haven't been fully integrated yet began using those services for internal replenishment activity. So that process of putting those online services for our partners then became an internal tool to use as well, because if you develop your online services in a way that it's service-oriented architecture, so that you can establish an order process that is then abstracted from multiple systems. It's just a service, and then you deal with each of the systems individually. You can get a lot more benefit out of that type of transaction. It's been a great payback for us.
Great. Thanks, George. Mark, when Leviton won the award in 2008, you said, I quote, "No incorporation of e-commerce into your business model is like buying a car without considering fuel efficiency." Tell us how Leviton has become even more fuel efficient since then, and what best practices have helped you keep the money in your pocket.
Well, going back over the years, we constantly try to tweak our current services. We try to get the most out of EDI, and we really push users to our B2B for self-service purposes. But some of the things that had a tremendous impact over the last few years, number one was, as Ron alluded to earlier, were the eSpot transactions for EDI. Those played a tremendous role in helping us reduce. We used to get stacks of paper from distributors that are just so manually intensive that would just draw resources, and the error rates of those and the turnaround time on those were just so long. And then once we implemented the full suite of the 844, 845, and 849, it made a huge difference and an impact as far as really seeing a difference as far as automation at work for EDI. Something else we did was we gave the capability to all of our shipping facilities the UCC 128 capability to get it on the ASN, which also helped our customers. That played a role in receiving for our customers that wanted that information back, whereas in the past, if we had one item that was maybe consolidated in one of our DCs that went out on an order with everything else that had the UCC, that would kind of shut down their receiving, and the last thing we want is unhappy customers. So that played another big role. Also, we're moving to more digitization. Our price sheet we recently digitized. We made that electronic. We're trying to do away with the mailing of all of the paper. Mass mailings go out every time we have a price change. So we moved that more to the web, where customers can download that information. And it's also in a searchable PDF to make it easier to find things within that document. We also installed state-of-the-art web analytic tool that helps us track user behavior on our website so we can improve the site overall. We could find out what's the holdup in certain areas on the web, where they're going, where they're clicking on the most, and improve those areas as well.
Great, thank you. Sticking with the automotive theme, what hills or dangerous curves are down the road for Leviton, and what do you see as any emerging technologies impacting your current business process?
The hills and the curves are really what we talk about here, and that's basically item attributes and getting our data in one unified place so we can get it out and quickly publish that to our customers so they can use it for whatever purposes they need it for, whether it be logistics, receiving, or selling it on their own website. So that continues to be a challenge, so much so because an item goes through engineering, it goes through marketing, it goes through the logistics area, so you have a lot of people who own specific pieces of data, and trying to get them all to do what we want to do in e-commerce by providing those attributes in a timely manner is not a priority for everybody like it is for us to get it out there. So that continues to be a hill to climb. Down the road, we see a huge opportunity on our buy side of the business to implement some technology, some self-service areas, EDI, and also we're looking at some OCR technology to help improve digitizing paper documents as well.
Great. Well, thank you very much, panelists. Getting a little feedback. And now it's time to invite Bob Gaylord back to the stage to announce the 2011 winners of the Richard Buzun Award. And Bob will give you a little background on the award and reveal the winners. So let's welcome Bob back to the stage. Thank you very much. Thank you, panel.
Well, look, I'm honored to be able to present. We're going to keep these up here because we're going to have a panel right afterwards. And I would encourage you, just as sort of an aside here, I know how these things go when you break contact after the first session in the morning. Folks have a tendency to sort of filter off and you have some attrition because you're trying to do other business and keep things rolling. But I would encourage you to come back for the panel. It starts at about 10:15. Because that's talking, when we talk about leadership, that's talking about the next generation of leaders. And it's talking about a cross-section of generations, multi-generational challenges in the marketplace and in our businesses. And I know NAD's got a big push. I know NEMA's got a big push. I know many, many companies here, if not every company represented here, have big pushes on trying to encourage and bring in fresh young talent. Because it is the future of our companies and respectively in the future of our country. So I would encourage you to be here for that presentation. So right now, though, I'm honored to present the 5th Annual Richard Buzun Awards for Leadership and Innovation in E-commerce, an award that honors the late Richard Buzun, former president and CEO of Siemens Energy and Automation, and the 2nd IDEA chairman. And if you think back upon what Peter Drucker called or defined, how he defined innovation, it's change that creates a new dimension of performance. And isn't that what we're all trying to do? And you heard from these 4 great panelists who represented previous winners, Crescent Electric, ERICO, Graybar, Leviton, Osram, Rockwell Automation, Van Meter, and Viking Electric, who were previous winners. These 4 individuals that were up here before talking about what, not the award meant to them, but what the outcomes based upon the outputs, based upon the ideas that were generated by the channel. And what that meant for them, for their bottom lines, what that meant for their processes and their future. So I thank those 4 panelists for coming up here. And you see what happens when good things happen in companies who take a leadership role and step out front and essentially take a risk. Because everything that they talked about was about taking risk. And you all do that every day. Now, the 2011 winners invested in the future by exploring and adopting new productive ways of conducting business with their trading partners. They're leveraging the outputs developed by the industry to generate positive outcomes for their companies, which has a trickle-down effect on the channel at large. Again, it's a little bit of narcissism, but it's for an altruistic outcome for the channel, huh? So I should have said A for our Canadians. The 2011 distributor winner, I'm going to read primarily from the script on this so I don't get it wrong. 2011 distributor winner fully recognizes the need to keep links with the supply chain strong and efficient. 5 years ago, they began building a catalog content that generated high-quality print and electronic catalogs for their customers that their customers were really demanding of them. To date, they've built over 85,000 items for more than 500 manufacturers using a product hierarchy that is now directly linked to the electrical industry's attribute schema. The rich catalog content and data has allowed them to build a punch-out order system for their customers to link to and from their procurement system. The application creates a smooth and error-free system for their customers. They've participated in the B2B Partnership Rating Program pilot to establish benchmarks for data quality excellence and have active participation on the Industry Standards Committee. And I go back to that Standards Committee because I've sat in those meetings and I've seen how active these folks are in it. They do an excellent job of communicating their business needs to manufacturers and share examples of their data to help the rest of the industry understand the powerful outcomes that can be realized when robust product information is used strategically. Again, if you go back to Tim Sanders, that word share, that was the first one in his circle. This distributor truly leads by example. Congratulations to the 2011 distributor winner, Border States Electric. Jason, folks, you got to come up. You got to come up. If Greg and Jason and the team, whoever wants to come up, doesn't come up, I keep the award. What's really cool about this is I knew they were going to bring up the entire team, but you can see how almost shyly they came up. But when you're sitting in a board meeting with Greg, Greg's sort of quiet, but again, it's one of those, when he starts talking, everybody else sort of quiets down and listens to him very respectfully and does the right response. So I know that for a fact. Jason, who's been incredibly active on the Standards Committee, as he starts talking, people stop talking and listen to him as well. So again, on behalf of IDEA and the channel, congratulations. Excellent work. Thank you. Thank you all. Did one of you want to make comments or remarks or anything? Okay. But they're going to corner you guys out in the hall, and then they're going to talk your ear off. And now, again, congratulations, Border States. And now for the 2011 manufacturer winner. This manufacturer has completed the sizable task of integrating their multiple divisions and subdivisions into one ERP platform, gaining the efficiencies of a fully integrated business system, a single version of the truth. And we've heard that many, many times over the course of the last day and a half. They have made an EDI the primary method of exchanging business documents with over 200 of their domestic trading partners, and employ other electronic methods to conduct business with their European and Latin American partners. Their quote-to-cash cycle is fully integrated, and their SPA process is completely electronic with a 72-hour turnaround time. To facilitate their high rate of electronic document exchange, they knew they had to get their master data house in order. They undertook a project to review and cleanse the master data files and ensure that the data delivery into the IDW is clean, current, and coded correctly. They have implemented an internal data governance project to maintain data integrity and take their clean data mission a step further by analyzing their trading partners' master files and syncing the data with their own. In October, they will roll out an internal process to pull the enriched and attributed data from their website back into their ERP system, which will then be fed to the IDW, meeting their customers' needs for robust product information. Please help me in applauding the 2011 manufacturer winner, Cooper Industries. These folks had a full house yesterday too in their breakout session where they explained, and again it takes it back to sharing the information, and they were very, very candid in what they shared with those who participated in their breakout session, and for that we're very grateful also.